Hello. Welcome. Happy Thursday. We're over the middle of the week, so we're almost at the weekend. Does that count? Thanks for joining, and thank you for those that have been joining all week. This is a bit random for me to go live every day, but I thought it would be fun to wrap up the sale-a-bration promotion. So if you are watching for the first time, welcome. And my name is Kayla. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator from Tasmania in Australia, and I usually go live every Saturday sharing a new project in a PDF. But this week I've been going live every day to share a project using the beautiful sale-a-bration products. So if you have missed them, you can go back and check out the previous videos. I've done 3 so far. So day 1 was using the Toadstool Gardens 6x6 designer series paper, as well as the beautiful sequins that are part of sale-a-bration. I think they were the only sale-a-bration products on this one. And that coordinates with the terrific Toadstools bundle that's in the mini catalogue. So this was day 1 project I shared. Day 2, we made this really fun, very purple card using the Corners in Bloom stamp set, which you can earn for free. The Bloom Impressions DSP, which you can earn for free, as well as those beautiful sequins again. Can you tell the sequins are a reoccurring theme? Mind you, they went on yesterday's and they're not on today's. So I haven't used them on every card, but I reckon I could if I tried pretty. Well, I wouldn't even really have to try. I love the sequins. So this one also used the beautiful Delightful Wishes bundle, which is where I got the wishing you a happy birthday from. So that was day 2's card. And then yesterday's card, I made this one, which was using the beautiful Friendly Seagulls stamp, which you can earn for free. And I made a quick fun fold. So this one is a angled gatefold card. So it has a belly band that pulls off, and then this opens to reveal a fun inside. I love bright colours, so this was totally up my alley. And you can fold this either way, so you can have that one on top if you want. And that coordinates, well, that went with the Ocean Friends bundle, or the Ocean Friends of the Ocean Suite. So I thought they went really well together. So that was yesterday's card. And today I'm going to be showing you a different product out of actually it's 2 of the sale-a-bration products. But before I get started and showing you the project, I'm going to show you the sale-a-bration promotion. So if you haven't seen it yet, sale-a-bration is an amazing promotion that happens only once a year from Stampin' Up, and every $100 you spend, so all the products I share you can purchase online through me. Every $100 you spend here in Australia, you can get a free product. Now, these products in this catalogue cannot be purchased. They're exclusive to this promotion, so they can only be earned for free. And I've shared this in previous videos, so I'm not going to stop too much and go over them, but there's a catalogue with these beautiful products, and it shows you all the things you can choose for free. Now, during February, Stampin' Up also released additional products that aren't exclusive to the promotion. They're actually products in the store, and I'll be using one of those today that you can also get for free. So maybe you've been shopping up big and you already have all the things you want out of this catalogue. There is more. So you should be able to see those here. There you can see a little sneak peek to the left here of some of those products that have been released that you can earn for free. Now, I know that the alphabet dies, the trusty tool dies, and I think 2 of those kits are out of stock now. Things have been selling like hotcakes. People have been buying up and people have been redeeming those free items. So if you do see something you love, I suggest getting your order in quick, because sale-a-bration actually ends tomorrow. So you don't have long. You don't have long to actually earn more when you order. So get those orders in. The other amazing thing about sale-a-bration is the fabulous joining offer. So maybe you have a big wish list, or you just want to save some dollars on those orders. You can actually join my Golden Scissor Craft Club team if you're here in Australia. And joining during sale-a-bration is the best time to do so, because there's extra goodies when you join. So the joining fee for joining, that's a lot of joining words in there. The joining price is $169, and that's the normal price that it always is. But instead of just choosing $235 of product, which you always get $66 in free product, you also will get 2 packs of free Stampin' Right markers and an exclusive stamp set. So all of that's worth $162 in extra goodies. You'll also get free postage. If you don't want the Stampin' Wrap markers or the stamp set, you can choose option 2 and get an extra $51 of product, which I believe brings the retail value to $286, I think. And you get free postage. So get all those items on your wish list and get them all in one box and save some dollars. You also get 20% off all future orders. So if joining is something that you're interested in, feel free to hit the link in the video description. I do have a page on my website where I talk about all the frequently asked questions. So you can find my website. It'll pop up on the screen right now. You can head there. There's a page up on the top all about joining my team, and that will have lots of questions, photos, and all the information you need about joining my team. Now, the other thing is if you are shopping before sale-a-bration ends, I do have a host code that you can use when you order. There won't be a host code for March. There'll be some changes happening, but until the end of February, if you enter this host code when you order, you'll get a free gift, tutorial, and handmade card from me. Now, the free tutorial is the Global Creative Project tutorial. You'll get this one delivered to your inbox, and that will have 12 projects from the Wildflower Birthday Suite, and that's worth $22 Australian, that tutorial. You can also purchase the tutorial, and once again, you'll find my tutorial store up on my website here. And you can purchase those no matter where you are in the world and if you're a demonstrator or not. So I think that was all my blurb. I'm going to head back to my desk. Now, today's products that I'm using are let me have a look, the Starstruck embossing folder. So you'll find that down here. That's free with a $100 order. And I'm also featuring a level 2 product. So this is the heart-shaped bundle. You do have to spend $200 to get this one. And the reason for that is because it comes with a stamp and dies. It's a whole bundle and for free. So amazing. The other thing I've snuck in is that when I said that Stampin' Up have added some additional products that you can earn for free, they added this beautiful stamp set. Now, this stamp set's only brand new. So this one's featured in the mini catalogue. And you can earn it for free. So amazing. It's a gorgeous set. You can actually purchase the dies and the matching embossing folder in the catalogue. So if you just chose to purchase the dies, I believe it is $74. So if you purchase the dies, what is that? If you spent an extra $26, you get the stamp set for free. Really, really cool. And yeah, so I'm going to show you the actual product rather than showing you a catalogue. So let's open this up. Today I'm using the dies, so the heart-shaped dies, as well as the stamp set. I'm going to use a different sentiment, but I'm using the stamp set and the dies because I wanted to use this beautiful big heart here. And I've used a few of these different dies here. I'm also using that beautiful stamp set I showed you because I wanted to take a sentiment from here. And I'm using the Starstruck embossing folder. So 3 different sale-a-bration goodies I'm using on today's card. So I'm going to show you the card. I have made this one here. So I wanted to use I looked at my cards that I've already done for the week. So I've done a really pinky one, a purple one, and another pink one. So I thought, no, I need to go back to my cool colours, my blues. So this is my favourite. And I wanted to put together this beautiful card. So I've got a few techniques going on here, so just a warning. And I decided to use the colour wheel. Now, if you haven't seen this, you can purchase this in my online store. So you'll find it under Colour Coach, and it's spelt the American way. So you've got no U in the colour. But if you look it up and look up Colour Coach, I actually think this is the one. It's not the exact one you can purchase because this one I got as a gift. But this is the one that you can purchase. So that's what you need to type in. And you can get this. Mine has a few extra colours because it's got the in colours on there, whereas the one you purchase won't have that. So I pulled this out because I wanted some inspiration for a colour combo. So what I did was pulled the analogous, I don't even know how to pronounce that. I should Google how to pronounce that word. And I pulled that in and chose a colour combo of Coastal Cabana, Blueberry Bushel, and what have I missed? Pretty Peacock. So I've got Pretty Peacock, Coastal Cabana, and Blueberry Bushel. So what I did was looked in this window here and picked my 3 colours. So you can actually pick them from the family groups of colours around the edge of the wheel. So blue, violet, blue, blue, green, and I've picked one of each for my colour combo. So I thought it was a little bit fun. So let's start putting this card together. Now, if you are new to my channel, when every Saturday I release a PDF along with my project, and this week I'm doing the same. I'm not putting instructions in the PDF, it's just the supplier list and measurements, and I will include the measurements in both metric and imperial. So I'm going to demonstrate using metric though, because that's what I use. So I have a top folding card base, which is Coastal Cabana. Coastal Cabana is my favourite Stampin' Up colour, but I feel like it's been very neglected since Summer Splash came about, because I do love Summer Splash as well. But I've got my top folding card base, and then I have my layers of Pretty Peacock and Basic White. So for the outside, or for the card front, I've made them a little bit smaller, and I'm going to do some work with those. And then I'll do the other ones when I get to it. So I also have a full sheet of Fluid 100, which is the watercolour paper that Stampin' Up carries. So you'll find it like this. It's 5x7 sheets. It's 100% cotton. I won't lie, I wish it was a different size, because 5x7 can be a bit of a pain to use, but that's what we have. It is good watercolour paper. It's good for doing what I'm doing tonight. So let's get started. I did my original card a little bit different, but for the sake of being a bit easier, I'm going to do it a different way when I demonstrate. So I'm going to pull this in. This is an old Stampin' spray mat. It's just going to protect my surface because I don't have my glass mat up here while I'm filming. And I'm going to add a bit of watercolour wash to this background, which I'm then going to die cut from. So when I did this card, I actually die cut my pieces and watercoloured them after die cutting, but that can be very fiddly, especially when watercolouring tiny things like these little hearts, or sorry, flowers, and then the hearts were quite fiddly. So I've decided for this one, I'm actually going to watercolour my whole sheet first and then die cut. Okay, so we're going to need to pull our colours in. So I have got my Coastal Cabana, Blueberry Bushel, and Pretty Peacock. And I'm going to also grab a little bit of paper towel, which I find handy when I'm watercolouring. I'm just going to put that to the side. Now what I'm going to do is grab in my water painter. Now I didn't actually check before I went live that this had a nice bit of water in it. I'm just going to squeeze that to wet the brush. And I'm actually going to gently cover my whole sheet with a little bit of water. And that's just going to mean that when I add my ink, it's going to flow nicely. So that's starting that off. Now I might be able to actually sit this piece onto my piece of paper towel. Now I want to start with, I might add a little bit of Coastal Cabana, and I want to add a little bit of Coastal Cabana inking just to one area, because I'm going to need to colour three different sections here. It might run a little bit, and that's okay. So I just want to add a little bit of Coastal Cabana over here towards the bottom left, and this is going to be where I die cut my flowers from. So I'm just coming in and adding a little bit of colour there. You could actually, I see people tape this down so it stays flat. That's another option. Okay. Now that should do. I'm just going to clean off my mat here. And then I'm going to add a bit of Blueberry Bushel. Now this is a very strong colour. I might even change brushes because I didn't top up this brush before I went and decided to go live. It's one of those things I think about after I've already pressed go live. I'm just going to empty that out a little bit because I can see that I've got some colour there still. Now, I'm aware that this may get contaminated with a little bit of blueberry bushel, but I'm okay with that. Okay, so I'm just going to add in my colour. Now, it's going to look really weird, but this is simply watercolouring a background so we can die cut from it. So it doesn't have to be too neat. I have fallen in love with blueberry bushel as a colour. I just love it. I think it is stunning. You know, I like to, once I've watercoloured the basics of my background, I really like to come in and add a bit more colour. Especially with beautiful colours like this. And it provides a little bit of variance in the tone from different areas that you're die cutting from, so it may not all be the same strength of colour. You can even let it dry, then come back in and add a bit more if you want. Okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Now I'm just going to carefully rinse out my brush. Blueberry bushel is one of those colours that you will need to give everything a bit of a clean afterwards. I still have, you can still see evidence on my hands of where I have been watercolouring with that today. Good thing it's hair wash night, because I find that when I wash my hair and give it a good clean, it also helps clean my inky fingers. Okay. Now the last little bit I'm going to colour with a little bit of Pretty Peacock. So I'm just going to add a little bit of Pretty Peacock in there. I still have a touch of blueberry bushel on here, but I think it'll be fine enough that it's going to get covered with this Pretty Peacock anyway, which is also a strong colour. I just need to get my water flowing in my brush. Okay. So I just want a section which I'm going to use the Pretty Peacock for my leaves. So I just need enough on there that I can die cut some of those beautiful leaves from the heart-shaped bundle. So my brush is, one of my water painters doesn't like to let out as much water as the others. Look how gorgeous those colours look together. What a beautiful combo. Okay, so that should be enough for that. I will give my brushes a good clean after I have finished. So let's give this a bit of a clean up. Thank goodness for baby wipes. Okay, now this may have seeped through a little bit. We'll just, oh no, pretty good. Just give that a wipe anyway. And then what we can do is you can either let this sit naturally to dry, or you can hit it with a heat tool. But what I might do is, just to let that colour seep in a tiny bit, I'll move on to the next step, and then we can come back and hit it with the heat tool if we need to. So what I'm going to do is I've got my layers, I've got my card base, my Pretty Peacock, and my basic white. I'm going to take my basic white and we're going to do just a tiny bit of heat embossing. So I'm going to take the heart stamp from that beautiful stamp set, and I'm going to grab some gold embossing powder and my Versamark. I'm just going to prep my piece here and then add a little bit of my Versamark. And then I want to sit my heart just a little bit above the middle but centered. And stamp that down. And I just need a little bit of scrap paper. You can see my my measurements, one of my cards, my math sheet, and then I'm just going to tip some gold embossing powder over the background there. Let's tip this back into my container, and then we'll need our heat tool. You have to let me know in the comments, which I did forget to mention at the start. This video is pre-recorded, so you'll see me chatting away in the comments, no doubt. So feel free to chat away, ask any questions. I'm here to talk. So even though this is pre-recorded, I'm definitely down there in the comments. And you can send me a message anytime you want. If you ever have any questions, if you ever need to know something or need help with anything, I'm always around somewhere. So feel free to send me a message. The easiest way to get hold of me is actually not by my Facebook business page messages, because that doesn't always give me a notification for some reason. So flick me an email. An email is probably the best way to get hold of me, or a text message. I think my phone number's on here somewhere. Yeah, so I just want to let that cool for a second, and then I'm going to bring in a couple of my ink pads. I'm going to start with my Coastal Cabana. Now, hopefully the sound is okay today, because yesterday it sounded terrible. I'm not sure if it's my phone microphone or if it was my laptop. Today I'm using my bigger computer, so hopefully it was that. Now I'm going to start in the center and gently work my way out. I went a bit strong there, but that's okay because it's going to get covered a little bit. I'm just simply adding a little bit of colour. I think it wasn't quite, it was still a little bit wet, so it was picking up that. But we want to add a little bit of ink working from the centre outwards so it lightens. So usually I actually ink from the outside in. That looks like a hot mess, but that's okay. That's okay because you'll see why. Now I'm going to bring in my blueberry bushel. Probably tap a little bit off maybe. And then I'm going to add the blueberry bushel towards the centre outwards. And then you can come back in with your Coastal. I find that when I ink blend, the ink settles into the card a little bit as you go. So when you leave it, that will settle a little bit and it will look a bit different. Okay, so I'm going to add a tiny bit of spritzing using a blueberry bushel marker. So I'm just very gently using the cap on my Stampin' blend in blueberry bushel and just gently spritzing that across that background. You can also add some Winter Stella if you want, or you can add this at the end. I've still got my temperamental Winter Stella, but I'm insisting that I need to use it up. Okay, so that's that piece. We are going to do a little bit more distress into that in just a moment, but we're going to take our layer of Pretty Peacock. So let's put this to the side. And we're going to bring in our Starstruck embossing folder. So this one is a sale-a-bration product that you can get free. I'm going to pop in my layer of Pretty Peacock. Now, if you haven't noticed, on our Stampin' Up embossing folders, we have a black line down here. Now, what that is for is to help you line up a piece of paper even. So this might be a bit big. Oh, no, it's not. If you line up the piece there, you'll see I've got it directly on that line, which means I will have a nice even sheet. But some embossing folders doesn't really matter if you get it even or not, but it's there if you need it. So I'm going to bring in my cut and emboss machine. I only want my plate, my plate 1. I need to take out my plate 2 because this is just a standard embossing folder. Now, I have been asked what this is before. It's a magic mat from scrapbook.com. I haven't used it for long enough to really give a 100% review, but it's a self-healing mat that you can use. Now, I'm not 100% sure. I can't give, obviously I am using the Stampin' Up mat here, but I can't say it doesn't void the warranty of this. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to be completely honest with you because it's not a Stampin' Up product. But I was trying to test it out to see if I got longer out of my mats. Now, that is the beautiful embossing that you get using that. So really, really pretty. Let's prep our card base now, and then we can start putting it all together. That one's going to go on there, but we're going to take the actual Coastal Cabana card base. I'm just going to clean this off a little bit so I don't transfer ink. So let's take our Coastal Cabana card base. We've got the bottom down here. I'm going to take the same stamp that we heat embossed, and I'm going to do some tone-on-tone stamping. So I'm going to stamp my Coastal Cabana onto my Coastal Cabana card base. And this is just to add some texture. I'm focusing on only going around the edge. I'm not worrying too much about the middle because you won't see that bit. That should be enough. Okay, now let's do this bit here, and then we can work and see if we can, if this piece here is dry. It's still drying to the side. So I want to distress this top piece a little bit. I'm going to distress the top left-hand corner. So I'm just going to turn it over, and I like to get my bone folder and run it between, so using my thumb and bone folder, I'm sort of running it back and forth. And that's just going to break down the fibres in that cardstock a little bit. And you can even separate them. So you'll be able to separate that cardstock and reveal the inner core. What I'm going to do is use my thumb and forefinger to roll that back and forth. And that's giving it a really creased, distressed look. And you can actually even take your blending brush and add a little bit of ink. Really distress that a little bit. Okay, then I want to do the same thing with my pretty peacock. So I'm actually going to distress the same corner on this one. Embossing, dry embossing, it will actually break down that fibre a little bit anyway. Okay, so then I can roll them together, but what I want to do first is adhere this piece to my pretty peacock. So I'm just going to take a little bit of glue, and I will need a bit more glue than usual because I'm going onto an embossed piece where you've got some raised parts. I'm just going to sit that on there. So you can see that embossing just adds a tiny bit of detail. It's only a little bit, but enough. It's very cool. Okay, so then I just want to roll this a little bit. You've got that distressed detail. I did forget that I actually did, I don't know if it'll be too late. Let's just live on the edge here. I did actually grab this distressing tool, which we don't, I think Stampin' Up! Used to carry something like this, but if you don't have one, you can use the blade edge of your scissors very carefully. So do this before you stick it down, obviously. I just managed to catch it before it had completely adhered. I'm going to just give that a good press. Okay. Now, what I want to do is adhere that down. I'm just going to wipe. I am notorious for getting everything really inky and dirty, so I like to clean my workspace as I go if I can. So I can adhere this now to my card base. I don't have anything else to add there, so I'm just going to grab some dimensionals because I'm going to adhere this on a bit of a dimension. Now, I have been saying all week that I ran out of white dimensionals. And I think I might have said yesterday, I think I didn't order in my when I was half asleep. I did, and I ordered 13 packets. I think that was a bit overboard. I think I was worrying that I had run out of dimensionals, and so I went a bit overboard ordering more. So I don't think I'll be running out. Well, it depends. how many cards I'm making. We'll hold that thought. Although I will be moving house at some point in the next couple of months, so there will be a slight interruption to crafting, but hopefully not too long. Okay, so that is our base done, ready for our prep to go on. Check out my fingers. Let's see how dry this is now. I can still feel that it's a bit damp, so what we're going to do is bring in our heat tool. We've given that some time to seep in a little bit. Obviously, if you were doing this and you weren't doing a video, you can let this dry completely naturally. And I like to turn it over and heat it from the back as well. So you can see how cottony this paper is when you turn it over. It is very absorbent, so you do have to, this particular watercolour paper, you do have to add a bit more ink to. I don't know if that's because of the cotton factor or how beautiful that blue is. That would look beautiful with an ocean card. An ocean theme card even. So I want to make sure this is pretty dry because I've got to run it through my die cut machine. So I don't want to run a wet piece of card through the die cut machine. It's okay if it's just a tiny bit damp, but try to get it as dry as possible. Okay, pretty good. Let's move this out of the way. And we're going to bring in our die cut machine now because we're going to do our little bit of die cutting. So I'm just going to move that out of the way. I'm going to bring in our sheet here and we need to grab our dies. So I'm going to use this beautiful detailed die here. And I think I might put it this way. And I want some flowers and I want these gorgeous little leaf dies. The only things left on that sheet are those two there. I'm die cutting everything else. So I'm just going to place them in the corresponding sections where the colours are that I want. Pop that in and we'll run it through. Once should be enough. Let's check that out. Okay, lift that up. And I'm going to keep those together for now. They will pull apart. Now remember, if you're tuning in, you can only get this bundle for free and only until tomorrow. Then it will be gone. And this bundle's probably this and maybe the sequins, maybe the seagulls are probably my favourite things from Sale-a-bration. So tell me yours. I would love to know. It's something that I've done a video on this week. I've got one more video for tomorrow. And I'm thinking maybe the fruit salad paper. Okay, so you can see these are relatively quick to die cut out. I might do a couple more of that one. And you can get one more heart out of there. I'm sorry if you can hear my little dings and computer in the background. Sometimes some people, so I put it on Do Not Disturb, but sometimes my favourites get through. And Elijah's dad is messaging me because apparently he's doing something on the computer over there that I don't know about. Nothing too bad, but Elijah's dream is to be a YouTube superstar when he grows up. And he forgets that he's only 11. And he's very nifty with a computer, above my understanding, which is scary. I won't stop the video. I will go and monitor him in a minute. Okay. So maybe we're what are the eagle-eyed parents keeping on to what he's up to? You know, you've got to be these days. So I'm just cutting a couple more flowers out of the Coastal Cabana. I don't actually know how many I used on my original card, but I'll cut out enough. So I've got some spare even. I haven't made a birthday card today either. All my cards this week have been birthday cards. This one I'm making today is just a generic card. And I've used the sentiment from the butterfly set. I feel like I've got to die cut that out because I can't have a space of wasted watercolour paper. I figured I've coloured it, I'm going to use it. Okay, so then we've got that as our scrap. You could even use it to use as a mask. What is it? Waste not, want not. So let's move that out of the way now. We've got all our little pieces cut. Now we aren't going to use the centres of these pieces. We're going to pop them out, but we want to keep one. So we're going to, if you can see what I'll show you what we're going to do with that. That's going to become the inside there, which reminds me, we do have to die cut a flower out of the gold foil, but we'll do that when we get to the inside. So let's just pop these centres out. And then we're going to lightly adhere these together. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue, to add some dots of glue just to sections on this heart. I need to clean off the end of that. It's a bit sticky. And then I'm going to add this over the top, but just a little bit off-centered, like only a tiny bit, but just enough that you can see, not stucking it right on top. You're just creating a little bit of dimension. Now, what it might have been easier is if I stick it straight to the card. So let's bring this card in, turn that over, and add a little bit of glue. And then we're going to stick this. Now we've got our heat embossed heart down here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stick it so it's just a little bit off-centered, so you get a peak of that gold embossing around that heart. Now it's just sticking to my fingers just a little bit. So I'm just going to, I've got gluey fingers. So I'm just using my Take Your Pick tool so I can grab onto that. And now we want to add our last one. So this is a stack of 3. Add our glue around the edge there. And then we're going to adhere that over the top, and I'm sort of off-centering it a little bit the other way. Okay, now I know that I want to add in my flowers. So I've got these Coastal Cabana flowers, and you can actually push up the leaves for a bit of dimension if you want. They're going to go in here somewhere. I'm going to have 3 this side. I'm not sticking them just yet because I want to place my sentiment and know where that's going to go. So they're going to go roughly somewhat there. Now I have pre-stamped out my sentiment. That is stamped in Pretty Peacock. Now if you missed the start, that one is from the Beautiful Butterfly set. This one is also available to earn for free with Sale-a-bration, and it is brand new. So it's out of the current mini catalogue, but Stampin' Up have been awesome and released a couple additional products, and that is one of them. So very, very cool. Now I'm going to trim this out a little bit. So I'm just going to cut that down. Bit of a haircut. And then this one is going to get stuck. I think I actually stuck thinking about it now, I actually stuck my heart here up on some mini Stampin' Dimensionals, but that's okay. We're going to tuck this in underneath here, and I'm going to do that on a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals. So you can see that I am forgetful, but I work with it. Okay, so I'm just going to tuck that in a little bit, and then we're going to work our flowers around it. So that's gone on some Stampin' Dimensionals. Now let's just add some glue for these. I'm going to sort of glue them around, knowing where my sentiment's going now. I'm just going to stick that one in there, and then I'm going to tuck this flower a little bit underneath. So I love to layer things. I love to tuck them in to spaces. So I'm going to put this one here, and then before I go any further, I'm going to add my bow. So I've got the gold twisted thread, which I did use yesterday on my seagull card as well. I'm going to tie a single bow this time. So we haven't got a double bow, just a single bow. Just want to tuck that in there. So I'm going to cut my tail on that a little bit. And that one is going to just go in here underneath one of the flowers. So I want to add that with a glue dot before I go any further. So I'm just going to grab my glue dot and stick that down in there. And then we can add our flower on top. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. I might have actually been better off with a glue dot there. So I might add this one and then add the one on the top with a glue dot because it's a little bit more tacky and strong. And I really want to make sure I've adhered that well. So I've got my flowers adhered. Now I want to come in with a couple of these little stem leaf parts that we have cut from our pretty peacock. And I'm going to add a couple of these tucked in. So I might just use some glue for this. I sort of just want to tuck them around my clusters. So there's a couple of little tiny ones, but they're great because they fill in those little spots where you just need something little. Pretty Peacock is such a great colour. It goes so well with brights as well as more toned down colour combinations. And I have used, I like to, if I don't like the curve too much, I'm just going to run it between my fingers there and just move it a little bit. Okay, so I did actually use Pretty Peacock as well on a fun colour combo. So I won't tell you the combo, actually, I can give you a peek. I am part of a fundraiser that starts tomorrow, and it's raising money for the Californian wildfires. And I've got asked to be a presenter in this fundraiser, and there's some amazing presenters, including Stampin' Up themselves, are presenting in this group. And as part of your donation, you get access to the private group and the hours and hours of video content and classes from lots of demonstrators. And there are some big names in there. So I was very humbled to be asked. I'll give you a little, I'm not allowed to show you the card, but I can give you a little sneak peek of the card that I'm presenting. So I've got a video for that going up, and my video will be going up at 4 p.m. my time tomorrow. It will be available in the group, and I have provided the measurements in my video description for both imperial and metric, and I think a few people have done that, but there's lots of video content. Very, very exciting. So that's happening on the weekend. Now, I think that's enough to go on the front of my card, so let's just quickly add our finishing embellishments, and then we'll do the inside of the card. So if you're interested in the Californian wildfire fundraiser, I'll put a link in the video description as well as in the comments. So if you're watching live, check the comments. Otherwise, if you follow my Facebook, I did post about it yesterday. It's just a $20 donation, and there's a link on there, and that's going, I think there's the information about all the proceeds is actually on the page, but it's going to those in need. So yeah, feel free. You also get lots of amazing classes and videos. So yeah, it will be fun. So I'm going to embellish with these. These are the Blooming Pearls, and they've got a variety of colours, but can you tell I love the gold because this card's going to finish off my gold. I love it. So I'm just going to do, actually, I was going to tuck that flower in a bit more so I didn't have to add a pearl to that one. But I don't know if I will be able to. Let's see. Let's just add that underneath just a little bit more. I'm going to add, I've got one small one left. So this is going to be one small one, but I'm going to add some other embellishments, which you'll see in just a second. Oh, look, I've got enough. I've got one more left. Oh, goodness. I'll use the other end now. Let's tuck that in there. And then I'm going to bring in my adhesive backed heart sequins. So I'm going for the gold. So let's tuck a few of these little guys in here. I'm going to put one up there. And then there's some medium ones. There's 3 sizes of these hearts. So I'm just going to use all three sizes. Just carefully popping them in so it's like a bit of a heart wreath. It's a bit cute. Okay, so I've got some leftovers. Now we're going to pop the inside of our card together. Actually, I'm going to add just a little bit of glitter over my watercoloured hearts. You don't have to do this bit, but I'm not doing the whole thing, so I'm just touching a little bit of glitter onto my heart there. You probably could do this before you stick it down. Just gives a little bit of glittery accent. Okay, so let's make the inside of the card. We are going to need to cut one of our hearts from gold foil. I didn't do that ahead of time, so I'm just going to pull in a little bit of gold foil. Do you reckon I can guess how much I need? Is that risky? Probably. Let's see if that's enough. Oh, that was a good guess. I've got a very squeaky chair in here, and my son likes to pull out my chair sometimes out of my craft room and be a typical 11-year-old boy and roll it around the house doing like donuts on my craft chair. So I think my chair has seen better days, but maybe I'll treat myself to a new one when I move. Because it can be rather distracting. I don't notice it too much, but I do when I'm doing a video. Okay, so this is just the gold foil heart. Just going to poke those little... When I'm using like a very fragile die, I do like to poke through those little holes where you can see the gold because it helps release that die. Because if you pull on it too much, it'll break. Okay, so there we've got that piece. Let's bring in our layers now. So we've got our layer of basic white and our layer of pretty peacock. And they are cut a little bit bigger than the front panel, so be sure to check the PDF. I'm going to add a little bit of blending. I'm going to see how much I've got left on my brush. So this is my Coastal Cabana. I'm just going to see. I like to clean off my brush. If I don't have to add any more ink to it, I won't. It's better to get that ink onto a bit of cardstock rather than sitting on the brush. Now I've got some blueberry bushel, and I'm just going to add the blueberry bushel on the edge there. Come back with my coastal and just sort of blend those two together a little bit. Okay, so then I'm going to spritz it a little bit with my blueberry bushel marker again. So just very carefully adding a little bit of spritz. And then I want to stick this inside. So this was the bit that was left over. I'm actually going to stick that to my card. So I'm going to come in here and add a little bit of glue. Now I'm mainly adding it to the left-hand side because the right-hand side is going to come off the card. So I just want to sit that in, actually I'm going to sit it this way. going to sit that onto that, and then I'm going to come in with my gold die cut heart and add on my glue to this piece. This would be easier to cut with an adhesive sheet, something I never remember to do. I've added glue to enough parts that will be touching the card. Okay, so then you just want to slot this back in to that negative. It will sit nicely inside there. So just give it a press, flatten it down to make sure it's nicely adhered. Okay, and then you can take your scissors or do it in your guillotine and just trim off that excess. How pretty is that? Very, very cute. Now, let's move this out of the way. We can now adhere this to our layer of Pretty Peacock. Like that. And then I'm going to use up a couple of these leftover pieces. So I've got a couple of leftover flowers, and this one's just wants to turn over. So I'm just going to add just a touch of glue and stick that back in there. You stay there. Stay there. Okay. Add in my leftover flowers here. So I'll stick a couple to the inside of the card, and then I might even, I've got some of these leftover little leaves, so I might stick one of those on the inside, add a bit more accent. Stick that there. Oh, look, I've got another one here. Let's use that one too. I'm looking at my desk with the scraps that are on my desk thinking I could make an additional card here. Look, I've got all these pieces. I could stick the gold foil around them all and make a pretty quick and easy card, couldn't I? That would be very cute. Okay, so now I cannot leave flower centers alone. I just have to add something. You don't have to, but I'm just a bit obsessed. So I have these Pretty Peacock sequins, which I have used, I think I used them this week. Where did I use Pretty Peacock? Maybe I didn't. I don't know. So I'm just going to add a couple of sequins because sequins are great. They're flat, so you can use them on the inside of the card pretty easily without adding too much bulk. Now let's add a bit of winter starlight, and then add our adhesive. And then we can stick this panel to the inside of the card. Done. How pretty is that inside? Bit of watercolour, a bit of foil, very pretty. So that was our finished card using the heart-shaped bundle from Sale-a-bration, as well as the Starburst embossing folder, as well as the butterfly, beautiful butterflies. So these were the Sale-a-bration products we use. So we have the heart-shaped bundle with the dies, as well as the Starburst embossing folder, Starstruck embossing folder, as well as the sentiment from the beautiful butterflies. So all of these products you can get for free only until midnight tomorrow. If you, the PDF for this card will be available when this goes live, so you'll be able to check the video comments. Otherwise, I'll post it on my page. And if you didn't check out, these have been the previous 3 days of videos, which all have PDFs as well. Otherwise, you can always find my PDFs, and I have a whole PDF library up on my website here. You'll find it down on the right-hand panel. There'll be a free PDF library where you can download lots of PDFs. So I hope you enjoyed seeing yet another project with the Sale-a-bration goodies before they end on Friday. Don't forget that the joining offer is still there. It also ends tomorrow at midnight, as well as those beautiful goodies that I have been showing off today, as well as the ones on the screen. I think that's about it. I will see you back tomorrow for my last Sale-a-bration video. before I come back live on Saturday, hopefully, all things going well. I will also be back on Saturday night with my usual weekly video as well. So have a lovely rest of your night, guys, and I will see you all again tomorrow. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of these videos. Thanks, guys. Bye.